a month ago, I got myself an Apple Watch, and as someone who considers herself quite the tech enthusiast, like I get really excited to hear about advances in the laptop, tablet, phone category. My apartment is decked out in smart home stuff. Like I really do just love bringing technology into my life and using it to make my life easier. The smartwatch category though hasn't been something that has quite pulled me in. Now one is on my wrist, so I want to share today my favorite apps, how I customize my Apple Watch, why I made this purchase, if I think it's worth it, all the things. We're gonna dive in. Before we get started, I do want to note that if you haven't already, be sure to hit subscribe and the notification bell. I post videos here on this channel every Friday at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I talk about things like productivity and organization and planning and self-care and lots of juicy stuff. I ended up getting the Apple Watch Series 6 in gold aluminum in the 40mm version, which is the smaller of the two sizes that you can get. I personally went with the smaller size just because I have a pretty small wrist, so I already feel like this takes up a lot of space as it is. And the reason I really went with Apple in this category, aside from the fact that everyone I feel like that has an Apple Watch has really great things to say about it, is that I already have a lot of Apple products. I use a laptop, I have an iPhone, I have AirPods, so it just makes sense to kind of like keep things in the same ecosystem. And I think one of the things I've been most pleasantly surprised with is just how well these two like work together. I am also realizing that my phone really matches my shirt today. Unintentional, but what a great thing. I just use the Wi-Fi version of the watch. I don't have cellular capabilities, so I need the phone for it to work and keep updating with notifications and all that stuff, which isn't terribly inconvenient for me because honestly, when I really thought about it, there's not many instances, if any, that I ever am like, oh, I really don't want to have to take my phone with me. So that's worked out. But also like just things like even getting an alert on my phone when my Apple Watch is charged and being able to like to customize all the watch faces and tweak settings on my phone and like have it just so quickly sync up. I've been really impressed with it. I bought the watch with the black sports band, and I really love using the sports band for working out. It's just really comfortable and I don't worry about sweat getting on it and all that fun stuff. But the band I currently have on is just a really inexpensive one from Amazon. I will have it linked down in the description box below, as well as a link to the watch that I have. So far I really like it, but I've only had it for a little bit, so I can't really say how well it wears long term. But I think like a band like this that's like more like a traditional watch is obviously a little bit more classy and better for certain occasions that more of like an exercise looking band wouldn't be ideal for. So it's nice that you can just like switch up the look of your watch with bands, whether you want to splurge on them or not. There's a lot of options out there for you. For me, the shift from looking at smartwatches as being a cool thing to being something that I actually wanted to invest into came about because I suddenly was prioritizing movement a lot this year. At the beginning of the year, I kind of made a goal for myself to really move my body every day in whatever way that I can for at least 30 minutes. And by the time March had come around, I had been really consistent with that goal. So I think at that point, all the fitness features that come with this watch suddenly became real benefits I could see myself taking advantage of. And that's kind of where like I felt like the value suddenly made sense. And you know, there's lots of productivity apps and apps not related to fitness that make this watch really neat, and we're gonna dive into that. But that was the point where I was like, oh, okay, let's try this thing out. I feel like now would be a good point to bring you in and get a closer look at what's happening over here. I personally don't have too many watch faces. I have this simpler one if I just want nothing on my screen. It has this retro look that I really love. But my most used ones are this one and this one, which look very similar because they are the same layout style, but I have different apps linked on each so that I can quickly access them. On this page, I have my timers. I feel like I'm always setting timers, whether it's for cooking or for working. Back here in the middle, I've got the weather, which I really like having quick access to. Here is where I go for my activity rings. So as you can see, I've already done well in my movement and my exercise today. If you want more details, you can scroll down, you can see your steps, you can see what your workout looked like. I don't really share my workouts with friends because I don't need that added pressure, but then there's also awards that you can get, but I mostly just use it to see this information right here. I've got Spotify linked, which is convenient to have access to. You can also change the volume of your music with the little crown. And then because my fitness rings are here, I also have the workout app, and I use this all the time. When I'm about to start a workout, I get it going. Its sensors are already firing off. And then if you scroll, I have, oh, that's okay. But in the middle here, there's like usually a motivational quote that pops up, and if I click it, it opens the app and I can just keep tapping for new quotes, which can be nice. Sometimes you just need a little like positive reinforcement. On the bottom left is a habit tracker, and I like this particular habit tracker because it has some habits that link up with the health app. I tend to prefer apps that automatically link to the health app so that I don't have to manually enter it. So I have things like meditation, practice Portuguese, drink water. I didn't practice Portuguese today, but if I did, you would basically just add one and go back, and it's counted it. In the middle, I have SoundHound, which is an app that will listen to the music that's currently playing and tell you what the song is, who the artist is, and give you lyrics. I don't have to use it all the time, but it really comes in handy during those moments where you're like, what is this song? On the bottom right, an app called Money Coach opens up. This app makes it really easy to track your income and your expenses. So if I were to make a purchase, I could say, okay, I just spent $50 on clothing. And you can even get specific about, ooh, I got tops. And it came from my checking account. And then when I go onto my phone, I will see that transaction recorded. I really like the fact that it's an app that I can update with my Apple Watch. It's not just feeding me information from my phone. Income would be the same way. You could say I made $50 from the stock market this week. So those are my watch faces. Nothing too exciting, but I find the system of having watch faces that are similar but with different apps makes it just easy to access your most used ones, because there are quite a few apps on my Apple Watch, not as many as there could be, but obviously if I had to go hunting for one that I use frequently all the time, it would get kind of tedious. A lot of these come with the Apple Watch. Like here we've got the heartbeat app and we've got the blood oxygen app. I don't really use those too often. I do sometimes like look at the data on my health app, but not too frequently. A lot of these are pretty native to all Apple products. Let me see which ones are worth highlighting. This app called Round helps you keep track of your medications or vitamins. I love the fact that you can set it up to give you a reminder to take whatever medication or vitamins you have during a certain range of the day. Then there's Awaves. I have used Awaves on my phone, but this is also a really nice one to have on your Apple Watch if you want to like roughly plan out your day with different activities. So right now I'm in a working period. It's like a calendar, but it's more like general time blocking, not like specific to-dos. And then if we go here, I've got Clue, which is my period tracking app. I don't particularly love the Apple Watch integration. I wish there was a way to update it like you can with the Apple period tracking app. So hopefully that's something we see in the future. Smart Life is for turning on and off my smart plugs. Uber for calling Ubers. I've been having a hard time finding a free list app that I like, but this one's been pretty good. If I want to make a grocery list, I can easily add to it by doing this. Chocolate chips. And I save it. And there you go. And then when I buy something, I can just check it off. This is another water tracking app that I'm experimenting with. You can easily add how much water you drink. And then it also sends you reminders throughout the day to drink water. I must drink the rest of that as soon as possible. The Calm app is really nice if you want a structured guided meditation.
And today, we'll explore how to reconnect with the artist within.
That's convenient if you want a guided meditation on the go. The Hue app is what I use to control my lights. You can turn these ones on right now. Oh, look at that. And we're gonna turn them right off. I don't really have a sleep app because Quite honestly, sleep has not been something that I've ever like had a reason to track. I'm a pretty good sleeper, but the basic sleep app that comes with the watch has been pretty good at just tracking like when I go to bed and when I wake up. I think one of the negatives I associated with smartwatches in general, not just with the Apple Watch, is the fact that it could open up a lot of potential distractions, because I'm already getting preoccupied with notifications on my phone, let alone with them happening right on my wrist. Like, how would I be able to free myself of all of that? On my phone, I've wiped all my social media notifications and stuff, but I still get email notifications, because when you work as a content creator for yourself, like there's sometimes urgent emails that come in, and if I'm not gonna have like someone else that's monitoring my inbox, I have to monitor it, then it's really important that I am in tune with what's coming in, especially if it's time sensitive. But like the thought of those notifications coming through to my watch, I was like, oh, that's gonna be the worst. Like, I'm never gonna have separation between me and my inbox. But what I've actually discovered is that I think it actually takes away a lot more distractions than it adds. And the reason is because when I'm in my office here doing work during the day, I usually have my phone nearby, and my phone delivers those same notifications that this does, but on my phone I can then move on over to TikTok or move on over to Instagram, move on to Twitter, just to quickly brush up and see what's new and happening. And when you do that multiple times a day, because, you know, social media just has that way of sucking you in, I end up wasting, you know, more time than I'd care to admit. So what's been nice about the watch is I still get the notifications I need. I'm still like on top of my inbox, still seeing my text messages. If a phone call's coming through, I know that it's happening, but I can keep my phone out of this room, especially during the workday. There's no scrolling on here. I don't have apps that let me access Instagram or Twitter, because like I don't even want to invite that into this process. So in a strange way, I think it's actually made me a little bit more present and in the moment. I feel like that applies to even when I'm walking out and about in the city. It's so easy to have your phone in your hand and check social media or check your inbox while you're walking somewhere. I always do that when I'm not crossing a road. Don't do that while crossing a road, but having the watch means that my phone stays in my bag, and anything that's, you know, important, pressing, if I need directions, I need to check the time, I can still do that. But otherwise, like, I'm just focusing on what I'm doing, which is walking and appreciating all the happenings around me. Which brings me to one of my favorite benefits of the Apple Watch, is having Apple Pay directly on my wrists. As I mentioned, when I'm out and about, if my phone's in my bag and I can keep it in my bag, I try and do that now to not only be more in the moment, but also do less contaminating with my hands. As a content creator, I take a lot of photos, and I 99.9% of the time I'm taking those photos by myself. And although I've become big fans of self-timer features on phones and cameras and Bluetooth remotes that allow you to just kind of like snap a photo, having that ability directly on my watch is so simple and so much faster than waiting for a Bluetooth remote to connect. It works every time, the connection's immediate. I just need to click and pose and do that, you know, probably 50 million times before I find the right photo, which is a whole other battle, but this is just way easier than how I've been doing it. If you watch any of my journaling videos, and you know I'm a big believer in habit tracking and the power that habit tracking has on keeping you motivated towards goals, but I think with the fitness ones, having things automatically being counted, like my steps and calories burned and workout minutes and standing hours, like those are all things that like I can continuously look at throughout the day and just be reminded to keep pushing forward on them. The breathing reminders too are so powerful. I've tried naturally, you know, when I do feel spikes in stress or anxiousness, to take that minute or two to do some deep breathing to kind of help shift my perspective. But those reminders throughout the day and throughout the week, during times where maybe I wouldn't have naturally been inclined to do that breathing, it's only good stuff. Sometimes I do ignore them, those notifications, because I'm like, I got shit to do, but I try my best to, when I see them pop up, to take that minute. Is the Apple Watch worth it? I would say yes, but with like an asterisk. Yes, because I have no regrets over this purchase. I think it's made me surprisingly more in the moment. It's helped encourage me on my movement journey, and it's integrated really well into my life and my workflow. I often find myself using timers and looking at the weather and checking the date, and like, I don't know, it just, you do get used to looking at your wrist. So now I feel like it's quickly becoming ingrained into my routine. But I add the asterisk because do I think you need it? No. I personally feel like it's more of a bonus item. It adds to my experience with the Apple Watch, the Apple ecosystem, but it's not like I'm doing things on this watch that are completely like transformative and different in the way that like having a laptop adds value or having a tablet adds value. But I feel like, you know, me as a student probably would have taken a lot of advantage out of something like this, because it allows you to kind of keep up to date with things while you're in class but not have your phone out, and also track study hours and healthy habits that you often like forget about when you are in study mode. I think if you're someone who really prioritizes movement in your life, like this is amazing. If you're like me and you feel like you are too tempted by your phone at times, then this can also help with that. So is it worth it? Yes. But is it necessary? No. That being said though, I really have been surprised by how much I love having one, especially because I was so hesitant for so long. If you have any more questions for me about my Apple Watch journey, then leave them in the comment section down below. I'd also love to hear your pro and con experience with an Apple Watch if you've had one yourself. Like the video if you enjoyed it, and I will see you all very soon with a new video. Until then, bye guys.
What about the self-confidence?